there's another little hill right there. That easy.
This is skill. It really is.
See there? That's all there is to it.
I should do that when I make skill trees. I should just like.
Put in these little things wherever you want 'em. In your world, you have total and complete power.
Wonder if I'll ever fathom that it's paid to be omnipresent. There's no way that you could imagine.
It's natural
That,
at least for a little pond. Maybe
like 40 years later, you would be the hit internet celebration.
Clean off a little spot to work.
Like, this is such a foreign concept to him right now.
Russian blue.
This is beautiful.
Something like so. And let's take.
Sadly, he couldn't have seen it in his lifetime, but still,
Take the old fan brush.
very few artists have ever
Let's just load it
ever
full of
transcended
paint.
to this level.
A lot of paint. Okay. Let's go right up.
Tarke Vault to be viewed the same way in a few decades, calling it. Oh, brilliant. Tarke's not even lasting that long.
Tree right there on that little hill.
30 seconds. Oh, shit, 10.
Probably not going to be able to see.
Oh, can we fit that tree in? Will he fit it in?
Okay, now as I get into that.
Oh, shit, boys.
Right there, there's already
F5.
paint on this. I'm going to add a small amount.
And we've refreshed the PoE
Brush,
website.
Go back through the paint.
The Fall
Thins
of
the paint.
Oriath.
And as you know, a thin paint.
Jose.
Paint. Thin to thick. Thin to thick. There we are. Put a little tree lives right there. Something about like that.
Oh, is it
Let's give
crashing?
him a friend. Yeah, I think everybody needs a friend.
Everybody does need a friend.
Load a little more paint. His friend. Right there.
Okay, Rip Boss. Rip Bob Ross. We'll hide you for now. Okay. Hey. Oh. Oof. Okay. Please, no people getting kicked off of boats. Lego. Let's close the PoE in the background. Okay. Silence. What the fuck? I mean, what the f- Okay, so should I call Project PT or are you guys gonna call Project PT? Oh god, they said they wanted to have 10 acts, one playthrough, but I mean, fucking. Okay, so let's go through that again. I mean, dude. Okay. Okay, so that's 10 acts. See if we can spot any new weapon types, because we had the whips and the crossbows. This looks like some kind of flail. I really was not fucking expecting that. Okay. So I like the updated UI. We've got Globe Girls 2.0. It looks a lot cleaner. I do like the new UI. I like the new UI a lot. Okay. T.6 shit now. Complete shit. Globe Girls. So these are the hand crossbows. And they're confirmed definitely one-handed. Okay, there's no actual like blizzard effects, which I really like. The shot button looks awkward, to be honest. The way it's... Yeah, it does like really stand out, actually. But the new globes look so much better. I think I can live with that. But they do look kind of odd. Okay, there's no new skills on the bars. There's no new flasks. Pay close attention. They like to hide stuff into releases like this. So, like, pay close attention to like the skills and the flasks and stuff. What is that? Is that like some kind of new map device or something? Does that look like a shadow model to you? Because that looks like a shadow model with a new kind of cape. So that's maybe new cape stuff. Nothing new on the bars. No. Oh, dude, they've given us the juicy new Xbox CI. Okay, that's good. That's very good. People liked that shit. This won't be customizable UI. No, every time they do new stuff, they give us like blanket new UI upgrades. This is the blanket new UI. This won't be like optional. This will just be the new UI. But that new energy shield looks really sexy. They even like added a new gloss to the life globe, which makes it really like pop. I like that a lot. So these are the whip mods. Now some people thought that these looked more like bosses than NPCs. And I'm surprised they've done a really good job of like incorporating like this in game. This looks just like the artwork. They've done a fucking good job rendering these. So what the fuck is this? So as a base room, we have the Sin, and I'm guessing this golden one is Innocence. So we have the Sin and Innocence room. And we've got like fucking Zaro 3.10 with the fucking new axe. Also remove timer. Guys, just bear with me. How do I remove the timer anyway? Oh, the timer at the top, right, sorry. Yeah, so this is Sin and Innocence. This is Calandra. What's this purple one? Interesting. This actually looks surprisingly just like the this looks just like the boss fight in Halls of Valor for anyone who's raiding in WoW TAV. Trial of Valor, sorry. So we're on a boat. Act 5 with 4-link? Dude, they're removing all the difficulties. That's why he's on a 4-link. So we definitely have the new updated. There's the bridge. So you go through... So it says then return to Rayclast. So... You play through Act 4. You then do Act 5. You then come back to Lionized Watch for Act 6. So it'll be 1 to 4 is the same. Act 5 is Oriath. And then for 6 we come back to like a non-corrupted Rayclast. And then we progress forward. Okay. Rip Nessa. This is very important. People are like, dude, where the fuck is Nessa? People are freaking out. I don't see Nessa though. Nothing that crazy. Okay, so he's on a 6-link at this point. No new skills that I can see. So this kind of looks like... So this Act 6 is us returning to Act 1. So this is the new Act 1. It's got this weird Karui influence. So we're now in like an altered version of Brutus. And he looks like he's got lightning, but this very much looks like ice. So it's a multi-element boss fight, okay. But with similar themes, perhaps? Like similar endgame bosses? So it looks like they've like taken his body and like reanimated it. Looks like they've like just tried to reanimate him or something. And I like how he's got this like extra shit on him. Giant crab monsters. Just go back and get another quick frame at that. I like this water effect. I like the level of detail going on this. Act 7, so this is now what would be Act 2. If it follows Act 1 to 4 again, this would be Act 2, but let's just see what we think of it so far. Good, no new skills. These are only running like fucking 2 links. No new flask bases. So let's just run this at slower speed, sorry. So these are like Val mobs. This would kind of make sense. I'll just turn off the sound while we play it at 0.5. Actually, no, we'll play it once through at normal speed, and then we'll do one afterwards at 0.5. So I'll just keep going at normal speed for now. That looks like a new armor set to me. It's amazing seeing the game from this perspective. So Act 8 is now Act 3. So we just look at the mobs. Interesting. The Solaris stuff going on here. The big machine with Shadow Models is a time machine, probably. Could be, possibly. It could be that we go through, we kill Malachi, so we cleanse the corruption, and then we come back to like a cleansed version of Rayclast. What are these dudes? These like skeletal farmers. These are kind of cool. So basically the game pre-rendered. Alright, you're back. Simon, you have missed out. See what this says. You see what this says. Act 8, anyway. This is still Act 8. So again, this is Act 3 stuff. So it's Temple of Solaris. So yeah, so you go through Act 4, kill Malachi, come back, and now we're seeing like a cleansed Rayclast. And yes, okay, you know how I said that that cloak, that like armor set had a cloak into it? That is definitely the player character there, so we're definitely getting maybe cloaks as part of the base armor. That doesn't look like an MTX to me. What is that flash? So this looks scary as shit, whatever this is. So some bad juju has gone into this. And this could still be like Solaris and Lunaris fighting. So this is like very noble looking. It's Diablo. Diablo, the final boss. Isn't that the Fiend artwork? Slay the God. So we see this fight again. So wait, was that like the spirit leaving the soul of it? Some very demonic shit going on here. Act 10 is Oriath. Claim their powers. Skelly wheel, bros. I really like those noble zombies. It's just like a frame. So the Xbox zombies. So what is this Xbox zombie stuff? So what, they're like marked? Why have they got the marks on them? Okay, this all seems very hypey. When are they going to make all these acts in 10 years? No, no, no. Simon, this is 3.0. This is 3.0. 10 acts. 10 acts in 3.0. These look fucking badass. Okay, so we have him slaying whatever this weird fiend demon thing is. Six new acts, a single playthrough. Simon. Wow. So, let's go through and read the info now. Watch Ziggy's video. We'll read through this info and then we'll look at Ziggy's video afterwards. Okay, so that was like fucking cray. Like, cray city. Let me put some background music on. But, yeah. That was kind of... If they do that, I might ban in my life and become a Path Exile Hermit. Yeah. Okay. Atop the frozen peaks of Mount Veruso lies a way to return home, but the death of Dominus has left Oriath in turmoil. Caught amidst the slaves revolting from their Templar oppressors, you are the stands between the innocent life of Oriath, the divine wrath of High Templar Avarius. What is that annoying pop? Anyway, sorry about that. Okay. Part 2, The Gods Are Rising. Your triumph over the beast has unforeseen consequences. The dormant gods of Rayclast, once suppressed by the beast, have regained their divine powers. In Part 2, a set of 5 new acts, You'll weave through both new and recognizable locations throughout Rayclast, witness the results of your past deeds, and even confront the gods themselves. So yeah, so it's kind of what I was saying, where we slay the corruption, and then that's what breeds all this new life back. Okay. Ooh, you look scary. Oh. Okay. Get a new cloak, new armor stuff. Then we slay the new life. So this looks like a new zone. What is that annoying? Anyway. Give me just 1 second. I just want to close all my unnecessary windows. Okay. Act 6, The Rising Tide. The Brine King, god of the seas, is expanding his domain. Every border is being redrawn. Come to the aid of familiar allies before his relentless tides wash away all hopes. This is the stuff that we saw in the Xbox reveal. That's the repaired bridge or decimated meal. That looked like the Oriath bridge. Oh, Chevron being cheeky. Interesting. Again, the new CI I was telling you guys about. I really like the new globe girls. They look fucking badass. Wheel Skelly's new hit meme confirmed. Yeah. Okay. Dark Souls Wheel Skeletons. Act 7, Lord and Legion. Ancient Val ruins have risen from the depths. Amidst the chaos, the bandit tribes have united under one banner and have stormed the forest encampment. Oh, I really like how they've done that. Because there was that whole thing of the reason why we were afraid of the bandits was if they ever did band together, then we'd be shreked. So I like how they've gone back and done that. Reclaim the homes of your allies and discover the secrets that lay beneath the ruins. Like, bruh. Getting that new armor set I was talking about. Very, very cool looking. 8. Act 8, Eclipse. In the center of Sarn's great bridge, Solaris and Lunaris fight for control of the skies. Meanwhile, beneath the earth, something foul is poisoning the water. Looks like they used the new tile sets and made new zones for the axe. Slowly drain them until they could fight back. Really cool looking. No Clarissa here. Act 9, Reunion. The rotting beast beneath Mount Veruto holds the key to salvation, but beings both mortal and divine seek to keep from obtaining it. More will be revealed in the coming weeks. Okay. Return to Oriath. Fate rests on your shoulders. You make your final stand. More will be revealed. So it's Act 1 to Act 4, Act 5, and then Act 6 to Act 9 is updated Act 1 to Act 4, and then Act 10 is an updated Act 5. Okay. Claim the power of the gods. The Pantheon system. Oh no, this... Okay, I don't like the sound of this already. The Pantheon system allows you to turn the tables on the gods, wield a fraction of their immense power, and prove once and for all that nothing is immortal. Pantheon powers grant you defensive bonuses and can be swapped in town with no cost, allowing you to tailor your choice to the challenge you're facing. Soul of Arakali. 5% reduced damage taken from damage over time. 25% increased recovery of life and any shield if you've stopped taking damage over time recently. Okay, so it's not that powerful. And it has these extra unlocks. Increased movement speed while in burning ground. Reduced being damage taken while moving. Plus chaos res against damage over time. Okay, so it doesn't seem that OP. But this is still power creep. But you can change it anytime for free. Soul of Tukahama. While stationary, gain 1% physical damage reduction each second at up to a maximum of 8%. While stationary, gain 0.5% low if you jump a second, each second up to a maximum of 2%. This would be insane if... well, not if. This would be insane on my Scorcher or anything. Is it really power creep if anyone can use it? That is the definition of power creep, Window. Okay. It's power creeping the players. It's making players more powerful. So unless the new content is really difficult, we're currently in a state of the game where we are vastly overpowered. So if they're adding even more stuff to us, then that's power creeping the players. But we need to play it to see what the difficulty is like. But it seems very interesting. And I like that you can change it for free at any time. Skills, items, and improvements. The Fall of Oriath is our largest content expansion ever. It includes new skill gems, unique items, and much more. We'll be reading the info later. February 16th, Legacy League. Okay, so it's, yeah, Legacy League. Okay. So it will be some kind of flashback league. And it starts on March 3rd, which is when we thought. It's a Friday. Late April, early May, the beta begins. Then June, July, it releases. It's a very short beta window. It's only like a 1 to 2 month beta. Interesting. Hopefully we get into the beta. So you guys said that I needed to watch Ziggy's video. You said I had to watch Ziggy's video because Ziggy explains it all. That was a bit quick, Pox. Ziggy's made of it. Ziggy's currently in their head office, so he would have worked on this ages ago.
Early look at the upcoming Path of Exile 3.0 expansion, The Fall of Oriath. This expansion is doing a lot more than adding a new act and removing cruel difficulty. Path of Exile is getting 10 acts. No, I'm not joking. GGG aren't just removing cruel difficulty, they're removing merciless as well. No more repeating the same acts, quests, and bosses multiple times while leveling. 10 sequential, unique acts with a continuing story all the way up to endgame in this one expansion. To show you guys exactly how this works, because I didn't really fully understand it when I just heard about it, I'll take you through my experiences completing
pretty obvious.
Act 5 and returning to Rayclast for Act 6. Are these really new acts? Let's take a look. Just note that this expansion is still more than 3 months out, so not everything I'll show you is completely finished. So at the end of Act 4, it's revealed that there's a way back to Oriath.
Oh god, I didn't even get that Terminator reference. That dun 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 is like the it's like the Terminator theme. I didn't even catch that. Like, I've seen that twice now. But listen for it.
So at the end of Act 4, it's revealed that there's a way back to Oriath. Here in Act 5, I find that a powerful force is assisting the slaves of Oriath in a rebellion, and I begin to realize the far-reaching consequences of my actions in Rayclast. As it turns out, the beast of the mountain that we killed in Act 4 was consuming the power of the gods. Now the gods are returning to power and attempting to seize control of
So that's
their
the High
old
Templar.
territories.
Oh, dude, no, hang on. Okay, so my Scorching Ray build, I want that. That's what I want.
Towards the end of Act 5, I discovered that I must return to the mainland, so I sail back to Lion Eye's Watch and into Act 6. Now notice I don't start in Twilight Strand in Act 6. I wasn't exiled and thrown overboard this time after all. But there is a side quest in Twilight Strand, so I go to check it out. Nobles of Oriath have been fleeing the rebellion, and many of them died in the process, finding themselves reanimated on the Twilight Strand.
Okay, so the
and
Xbox
aren't to
zombies.
clear them out. Notice no Hillock. I killed him in Act 1 after all, and this is the new Act 6 that follows that timeline. After clearing the undead nobles, I head back through Lion Eye's Watch and out onto the coast. The Karui, driven by their returned god Tukohama, have taken over these areas. Chris Wilson mentioned that these are placeholder models and there'll be regular Karui warriors here in the future.
Okay, that makes sense.
So far things have been pretty familiar, so I head towards the submerged passage through the mud flats. Bestel mentioned that the submerged passage has been flooded again and I can't find the glyphs I used last time to drain it. So instead I seek out the entrance to the old fetid pool. However, since we cleared the corruption when we were here last time,
Oh, that's
it
cool.
has sprung back to life. Tukohama and his worshippers have taken up residence and built a fortress here now.
Let me teach you the
Oh, that's Tukohama himself. That's pretty cool.
To the north of the Karui fortress, I find a way up to the ridge, which Chris explains to me was the other side of the mountains from the ledge. The ridge features some awesome new skeletons who know how to get around in style. At the end of the ridge, I find an alternate way into the prison. After exploring a while and running into another awesome new skeleton type, I find the entrance to a previously sealed zone, Chavron's Tower. Climbing the many floors of the tower, I eventually find myself up the top, face to face with a returned Chavron, who has reassembled the defeated Brutus and given him some new powers.
I told you guys it was a reassembled, like, Frankenstein Brutus.
After defeating the duo, I head down into the Warden's chambers and out into Prisoner's Gate. Now, as I've already opened the way forward in Act
You can
1,
just go
and
straight
since
to fucking
Coyote
Act
is
2.
no longer here to screw with us, I head directly into the Western Forest. This is still Act 6, by the way. I follow the path towards the forest encampment, and I'm getting pretty curious about how it might have changed. Eventually, I find that the old entrance to the forest encampment has been fully barricaded
Because of
shut.
the bandit invasion.
Looks like I need to find another way around. I head south for a while and find a walkway someone has constructed to get into the southern forest. I head up north here in the southern forest, only to find that this entrance has also been blocked. Whoever's in the forest encampment doesn't want people like us just wandering in. Looks like my only option is to head back down south through the caverns previously
Oh, that's
belonging
fucking
to
awesome,
Nevaeh,
man.
and into the Cavern of Anger. At the other end of the Cavern of Anger, I find an entrance to a new zone, the Beacon. Some of you guys will recognize this from the Beacon map. In order to progress, I have to light the beacon by pushing 2 pillars underneath it. Once done, I gain passage to the Brine King's Reef. The Brine King is one of the returned gods of Rayclast, and he's raised the ocean floor to create a new home. The Brine King will be the final boss of Act 6.
Bruh.
I have to say, when this 10-act system was originally explained to me, I thought we'd simply be getting some, reskinned acts. But this is something else. Rather than returning to redo Act 1, we're returning to a familiar location, yeah, but it's changed with time and with our actions. And then we're exploring what has changed with new motivations while taking new paths. It's actually incredibly satisfying on a fan service level, returning to Act 1 after time has passed to see how our actions and previous acts have changed things. So we get 5 acts like this in Part 2, revisiting the old locations to see how they've changed and to continue our storyline. And this is all over and above the Act 5 we already knew that we were getting
so
in Path
cool.
of Exile 3.0. Rather than the generally accepted action RPG trope of repeating the same content across multiple difficulties, we have a game that expands the leveling process out to a full 10 acts. It's been done in a pretty clever and efficient way as well, an action RPG way. reusing some of the content in a creative new way to efficiently produce 6 new acts all at once. It's kind of funny because years ago GGG announced that they eventually wanted to get to 10 acts with just one difficulty mode, and now they've somewhat accelerated that timeline with this move. I personally feel like this is a great move for Path of Exile. It goes way beyond a simple revamp of the leveling process like what we've had in the past and what I was expecting or hoping for this expansion. For many players who are growing tired of the repetitive leveling process, this could well make leveling enjoyable and engaging again. It's certainly going to be a lot more varied. I'm really curious and excited to see how much the other acts have changed and what new story we'll be getting out of them, especially because Act 5 is essentially in 2 parts. We have that first initial exploration of Act 5 and the actions we have there, and then we come back 5 acts later for the end of the story. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are your minds as blown as I was when I first checked this out? Anyway guys, that is it for now. If you guys want to see some more Path of Exile 3.0 and 2.6 information, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I am Ziggy D, and thank you very much for watching.
Fucking hell, man. I really was not expecting that. Let's see if he, see if they put anything on Reddit. Also. Because that is fucking insane. Case of story. So old Pantheon system. Okay, it's this. Our new items abilities not enough raw power for your exiles. Well, how about taking abilities straight from the gods? After the beast was destroyed, powers inadvertently to the gods, very classed. Once players return to the shores of very class, there'll be all kinds of gods roaming the world. There are 4 major gods and 12 minor gods. When players kill a god, they can select his power, 1 major and 1 minor. Additionally, these powers need to be swapped based on the needs of any given fight. These powers can also be improved by defeating powerful bosses in the map system. Okay, so you get like a base version, and then you get the like updated version through maps. Finally, these are still being tweaked, but you can see a working copy of what to expect. With this system here, it is designed that you can swap it at will based on what you're about to be fighting. The god power here will be called Soul of the Brian King, says you can't be stunned if you've been stunned recently, and you can't be frozen if you've been frozen recently. If you're expecting to have an account where you're going to be chain stunned or frozen, you simply choose this to mitigate it. Okay. How does the lab work? We don't know. No, not this. It's Xbox stuff. And regarding in-game trading, there's going to be a complete different approach to the current system in the Chinese version of the game. There's also going to be the Xbox release. In the PC version, players have access to an API that allows players to create lists and search for items on various websites. Once players find something they're looking for, they can contact. We don't want trade to be too convenient. We see what happens in other games. The trade system in China PlayStation X will be more user-friendly, but also more difficult to find the exact item you're looking for. Players will be able to buy items from each other in a single click, but there's going to be a small catch. Describes it as a garage sale. Players can search for a type of item and 100 choices will come, some good and others not so much. This type of system will be much more convenient with the controller, while not allowing players to instantly upgrade themselves with perfect gear. So it basically sounds like an auction house, but a bad auction house, because it's not easy to find the shit you want. The trade system in China and potentially on Xbox will be far more user-friendly, but also more difficult to find the exact item you're looking for. Players will be able to buy items from each other in a single click, but there's going to be a catch. Chris described the system as a garage sale, where players can search for a type of item and hundreds of choices will come out. Some good and others not so much. So like, you would say, amulet. And then it shows you all of the amulets. So like you'd type in a base type, so like a gate amulet, and it will show you all the gate amulets for sale. This type of system would be much more convenient with a controller, while not allowing players to instantly upgrade themselves to the perfect gear. Wow, that doesn't sound obnoxious at all. Legacy Challenge League. Well, the main focus part of the next team is on the upcoming expansion. There'll still be content for client players when it arrives, starting on Friday, March 3rd. The Legacy Challenge League will begin. Challenge League's competitive server research. Players raise. First off, there'll be the option to combine up to 3 properties from the previous 17 Challenge Leagues together. Hang on. It will coexist with the base release of the Fall of Oriath. First off, there will be the option to combine up to 3 properties of the previous 17 Challenge Leagues together. Additionally, items that previously League exclusive will drop during the Legacy League, which means new players will have a chance of obtaining. So wait, we choose like what 3 leagues we get? There will be the option. It won't just be like a flashback, because on flashback, it's on a set schedule. There's no option there. It just happens. Whereas this specifically says there will be the option to combine up to 3 of the properties from the previous Challenge Leagues together. I know you guys are all like just buzzed about Act 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You think it'll be rotating randomly? That's very poor wording then. Very poor wording. That's very, very poor wording if that's the case. If we could design our own league, I think that'd be really cool. Interesting. Everyone just pick the best. Well, not necessarily, because if you want like a particular set of items, like Onslaught League, for example, might have really good loot drops. So you might have some people who just go for the ones which give you the best loot, and others might go for the ones which go for, you know, the best XP. Maybe a vote system? Could be. Is there any new stuff? Item to drop hype. Okay. Furnace, here I come. So what have we missed? I think it's time to watch the trailer at 0.5 speed, boys. So we've covered everything. While we do this, if you guys find any more articles popping up, link them in chat. Okay, so let's watch this again. But this time, let's watch it at slow speed, and we can see if we can. Let's see if we can spot anything that we missed before. I'll turn the sound off because it just sounds terrible. I want to listen. I can't believe I didn't notice it was Terminator. Let's just watch this one more time at full speed, because I did notice it was Terminator. Dun 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 dun. Oh, it's because they didn't do the music this time around. That's okay. That's why we only noticed it in the Ziggy trailer, because they didn't have it for this. But dun 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 dun. What have you linked? GameSpot. DVS. Okay, we'll watch both of those two after this. Okay. So far there's nothing that we haven't already seen. So we have some dead slaves here. Really getting good use out of those cape physics. What's his chest piece? Is his chest piece new? That looks like a new armor set to me. Those crossbows look really cool. I really hope we get crossbows as weapon base. Those are the Wendigo things. This is us using the things to take us back to Act 6. So they're experimenting on slaves or torturing slaves. This is like some weird torture stuff. So this is the new High Templar. This is some bad... Is that a dragon? That looks like a dragon to me. Or it's a wyvern. A wyvern is the one without wings, right? That looks like a... It has a mane, though. But look at the teeth. That can't be a horse. It's a hippogriff? Oh, is it... Can it be a hippogriff without wings? Because that isn't a beak. That's part of an armor. Or is that a... That looks like... It might be golden armor on top of a beak. But that looks like part of the armor to me. It's a griffin. Okay. Jackal. No, wyvern has 2 legs, no arms. It's a fucking demon, kill it. Wingless griffin. Witch on the boat. New town. We don't know what happens to Lab. That's definitely a new chess piece I haven't seen before. I like how we have the different coloured ribbons. So we have the Solaris and the Lunaris coloured ribbons. And we've joined them at war with one another. I think that's really cool. Ground Slam MTX? Wait, was there Ground Slam MTX in there? Where was the Ground Slam MTX? I didn't notice that. But it's, you know, Ground Slam MTX, but alright. Maybe, oh, he's talking about Brutus, maybe? I don't know. Shit's cool, man. Scion in 2K16. Lol. Combs out 1K life in Legacy League. Please, please, please. Those wheel skellies are going to be such a meme. That's definitely a new armor set. Yeah. So we've got a new MTX armor set. Those zombies look fucking badass. What was that? Was that a bunch of slaves charging? That was the player character we saw earlier. So yeah, slaves are at war with Oriath. We knew that. That's really fucking badass, man. I like how they even included lag in the discharge clip. The wheel scales look exactly the fucking same in Dark Souls. Yeah. How much Tarke stream did I miss? I mean, you missed Act 10 being announced, and then Act 6, Act 7, Act 8, Act 9. Oh my god. When does this come out? This comes out in like 4 months. So now we need to... Quotes, you'll get to pick and choose between 7 different leagues, run, choose up to 3 that affect your character. In the yes, that's what I was saying, Vandelli. So we get to choose. That's really cool. So we get to choose which 3 league effects affect our character. That's fucking PogChamp. Oh, fucking skull with the hard carry. Okay, so what ones haven't we... So we haven't seen this. And then that's... Okay, this is the one we read. So we read that one. That was Ziggy. Okay. Onslaught Beyond Perennis, easy game. You need to keep in mind you need to pick the ones which give you good XP and the ones which give you like good currency rewards and stuff. And which ones drop the expensive items. Going to sleep now? Alright, catch you later, Bedlam. Cheers stopping by. Always good Pathfix, launch Institute Justice. Blah blah blah. Part of XX1 dev kit, just different new areas, including slave pens, snow areas, Templar Courts, glimpse of the living function of Metropolis. We see, so the High Templar becomes a Romanesque god called Innocence, god of eternity. So he becomes innocent, so he gets possessed by innocence. That's interesting. More hard heavy boss fights, clocking 30 FPS. They're confident there'll be 60 FPS for Xbox One. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Some odd haunts. Much stuff to see. Keys clearing, blah blah blah. Okay. So nothing too new there. Words, text. Pretty claimed, that's all just hype. Replay, game, let's just talk about old system. Okay, so new weapons, armor, and items. One of major addition, new progression system, new skills and abilities. Tell me if it's too loud.
Hello, I'm Michael for DVS Gaming, and today with me is Chris Wilson, and we're here to talk about the newly announced Path of Exile, The Fall of Oriath. Is it Oriath?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, good. I always get, me and lore names are just terrible. So we're here to talk about the new expansion for Path of Exile, which is very exciting because the more I have heard about this expansion, the more I have felt the need to return to the game once again. So before we get into the expansion, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what your job is, and things like that.
Well, I founded Path of Exile, Grinding Your Games, and made Path of Exile with some friends of mine. We actually met in school and playing Diablo 2 online and that kind of thing. So in 2006, we got together and conceptualized the game, started work on it, released it 2013, and we've been pumping out expansions ever since. My role is basically a studio director role where I both supervise the products and also the business itself. So I have my hand in every part of the game's design, interfering with people's plans and helping to make sure it is what it needs to be.
And it's funny because Path of Exile, for a while now, ever since its initial launch, has been regarded as possibly the go-to game for people who like old school top-down ARPGs, hack and slash RPGs. Why did you come up with the game in the first place?
So we'd been playing a ton of Diablo 2 online back in the early 2000s, and we couldn't really see any other games that were like that. You know, people were making single-player or LAN RPGs, but there weren't really any secure online, proper item collecty, grindy action RPGs that you could play. And so in 2006, we figured, why not give it a shot? You know, Blizzard had been pretty quiet on the Diablo front, and so despite their announcement a couple of years later, we were well into development by that point.
Because it's a game that I mean, when Diablo 3 came out, I was excited by the premise of Diablo 3, but I was playing Path of Exile at the time, and I remember thinking to myself that once I'd played Diablo 3, Path of Exile felt more true, I suppose, to the way things used to be done, which was more, I suppose, had more enjoyment for me as a gamer than the new version of Diablo 3. Was
just wasting time. Come on.
Supposed to feel like that in terms of its overall feel and the emotion that it responded, because it was very nostalgic, I always thought.
Yeah, that's definitely intentional. We try to stick with a formula that we know works. Like, early action RPGs like Titan Quest and the Diablo series and Dungeon Siege and so on had the recipe down really well in terms of how to make a game that's really compelling to play, and we wanted to make sure we stuck to that recipe as much as possible while putting our own slant on it. I mean, our character customization, for
I like
example,
these
is something
mob
which we've
types.
gone much deeper than most of the other games had
Yeah.
done, so that's something of ours that we've introduced.
So let's talk about the Fall of Oriath, right? Tell
Yep.
everybody, just go nuts. Tell everybody what it is and what it involves.
All right, so the Fall of Oriath is our big expansion, the biggest ever, and we're planning to release it later this year. And the initial scope of it was that we wanted to tell the story of Act 5 in Path of Exile. We wanted players to return to their home city of Oriath, which is the place they were exiled from, and deal with whatever troubles they had to deal with there until they finally basically resolved that plot line. And during the development of this, we began to realize that we really wanted to tell a much longer story. And this was happening at the same time that we were also worried about the fact that we're using this old school difficulty level structure. And this harkens back to what you were saying about the old formula. Old action RPGs liked to have 3 difficulty levels, where you play through the game on the first one, and then you have to play through it on the second, and then play through it on the third. And this was true with Path of Exile as well. You have to play through the game identically 3 times with the same character, just getting harder and harder each time, before you could access the end game. So combined with the motivation to want to tell a longer story, we decided to bite the bullet and actually release 6 new acts in this expansion rather than just 1. And so Path of Exile is now a 10-act game, where the first 4 acts are what people can play online right now, and the next 6 acts are the new ones. So Act 5 tells the story of returning to Oriath, and then Act 6 through 10 tell a parallel story where you return to familiar locations.
Hang on. Sorry. They shoot buzzsaws which bounced off the walls. Did you see that? Sorry, I know this is annoying, but...
The next 6 acts are the new ones. So Act 5 tells the story of returning to Oriath, and then Act...
Watch it, it bounces off the walls.
6 through 10 tell a parallel story where you return to familiar locations, and you get to play through them to see the result of your actions. So some of the areas are similar to how they were before, some of them are new, all of the monsters have been revamped in some way, the boss fights are new, the quests are new, and it's really a big fan service thing, so you get to see what happened due to the things you did in original Path of Exile. And it also means there's no annoying repetitiveness now where when you finish the game, you've got to play through it again twice exactly the same.
And was that decision to remake a good portion of the game, was that from player feedback, or was that a combination of player feedback and the kind of goal to bring in new players as well to the experience?
Well, it's interesting you say player feedback, because there's 2 kinds of player feedback here. The first one is when the players say, hey, I don't like playing through the game again, and that's definitely good to hear. But the second type of player feedback is where they don't say anything, they just leave. And while the game is successful and doing really well, a few too many players were just leaving during the second playthrough to make us comfortable. And so we're both listening to the players who explicitly say, hey, I'm happy to do grinding and stuff, but I don't really want to play through the story so many times without any variation. We also looked at the data and saw that, sure enough, there were some players leaving at that point. So we had enough evidence to suggest that this was a good thing for us to improve.
And how much time has gone into the development of this expansion?
We started work on the Fall of Oriath's content in mid-2015, so about 18 months so far. And by the time it's released, we're targeting the middle of this year, it'll be a 2-year development cycle. And the studio's at 92 people now, not all of whom are working on this particular expansion because we've released others during that time, but a good portion of them.
And so not only do you have this new expansion, you also have, just briefly away from the expansion, and we'll come back to it in a moment, but what you also have launches on Xbox One coming, so console version of Path of Exile?
Yes, that's correct. We're targeting a console launch at roughly the same time, and the goal is that it includes all of the content of Path of Exile as well as the Fall of Oriath content, so it's a very similar game on the 2 different platforms.
Okay, one thing that I just want to point out after one thing. So, these guys, when we saw them in the art, they had the crossbow and they had the hook, and it showed in the artwork it hooking a slave and pulling it in. So I thought they might be adding hooks to NPCs. But so far, none of the mobs, he's killed them quite quickly, none of them have gone to do a hook animation, so that might not be a thing.
And then you're also launching Path of Exile China, is that right?
That's correct. We're not sure what the date will be. It's somewhat up to our publisher in China, Tencent, but we'd love to see it at a similar point of time this year.
So, back to the...
Also, the new Flicker Strike animation on those, caped assassins looks really fucking cool.
Expansion itself. For people who don't know much about the current game as it stands, can you explain a little bit about what happens in terms of the story at this point?
So the player is, let's say, a criminal who's been exiled from the island of Oriath. And Oriath is kind of a city-state off the coast of this big mainland. And the mainland is seriously bad news. Like, it's, there's monsters everywhere, it's hostile, you're not going to survive a few minutes. So they exile their criminals to the mainland rather than execute them, for, religious reasons and so on. They don't want to do any executions, and so they send them all to the mainland to die or live or whatever. And your character is exiled there, and that's the beginning of Act 1. And as you play through Acts 1 through 4 of Path of Exile, which is the current story, you gain power, and you eventually manage to, for example, you get to kill the person who exiled you when he comes over to the mainland to meddle, and you get to, vanquish a mythical beast in the mountains who has been causing a lot of problems. And that's the existing Path of Exile story. And the new expansion will pick up from where that left off and give you a chance to return to your homeland and to deal some justice over there. And there's a reason why it's called the Fall of Oriath. Let's just say that. And then the extended story throughout Acts 6 to 10 tells quite a lot. It goes quite a lot deeper into what's going on Rayclast after your actions. Due to things that you've done earlier in the game, there are a number of ancient gods that are rising up, which are causing problems. And so you have to deal with these gods and steal portions of their powers and so on, before eventually returning back to Oriath again in Act 10 to finally put an end to everything.
Okay, and so for long-time players of Path of Exile, what can they expect in terms of content from the new expansion?
Right, so there are two things I want to address here. The first one is there's tons of new act content for them to play through. If they love Path of Exile, they'll love the 6 new acts. It's longer than any of the content that's currently in there and combined together. So there's a ton for them to see. And it also is very much fan service stuff. The entire part 2 thing of Acts 6 through 10 is entirely designed for returning players who want to, or even players that have just played through the content for the first time, who want to see the results of what they've done. There's all these subtle touches, things where you notice them the first time through, and then when you're seeing the same areas from a different point of view, you'll notice the consequences of them. And I really don't want to have any spoilers here, but there's some really cool things that we want players to notice there. And the second thing I wanted to bring up for existing players is that the new Pantheon system, which is where you can take the gods' powers and improve your character, greatly
What's creating this chilled ground? Sorry, if we can just pay attention to that.
affects your endgame mapping. The bosses that you kill in the Atlas maps will allow you to improve the powers that you've stolen from gods during the playthrough, and so there is a lot more character development that occurs in the endgame.
And what about new items and weapons and armor and loot and stuff? Is there all new stuff in that regard?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a ton of new items and there's new skills and so on, and honestly, we haven't even had time to promote these on the press tour so far because everyone's been so interested in talking about all the new act content. But yeah, we do have an expansion's worth of interesting new stuff coming out.
Great, so when are you expecting the expansion to get to full?
Okay, so these guys are randomly shooting it, but they're shooting it just like all over the place. They're not actually shooting it at the player, which is weird.
We're expecting a full launch sometime in the middle of the year. I'd like to say June, but I don't want to be held to that just yet because schedules do change, and we're trying to be flexible here because product quality is the #1 priority, and we don't have we don't really have a need to lock in a deadline right this exact second if it's going to make things worse.
Right.
In terms of a beta, though, we are planning to release that in late April or early May, and that'll give people a chance to play through much of this content early,
Give me a
us some
chance,
feedback, see what they
Chris.
think,
Me.
and have a chance to test it out.
So beta's late April, early May. How do players get involved in that?
So there'll be instructions on pathofexile.com at the time. We're very likely to select some players randomly to give back to some of our supporters that have given us a lot of support in the past. People that have paid over certain thresholds will probably get instant access, and we'll probably tie access into a new set of supporter packs that we release at the time. So yeah, there'll be a way to buy in, even though it is a free-to-play game normally, but we'll also be giving out access randomly to players too.
So for people like me who are now going to go back to Path of Exile and start leveling again,
If they make me pay for beta, I'm going to be pissed. We're just putting that out there.
and what is there anything between?
I'm going to buy the fucking supporter pack anyway, but I would like that they've given it to me anyway, and then I can get to the thing.
now and the beta that is coming in the game?
That's a great question. We're actually launching a new Challenge League a few weeks from now, so that's on March 3rd. It's called the Legacy Challenge League, and it has two things going on. The first one is it's basically a celebration of past game mechanics, and we're allowing players to combine together previous league mechanics that they've encountered. We've run 17 challenge leagues before now, and each one had a unique twist. And you can find like itemized versions of these as you play through, and you can equip up to 3 of these, which mean that when you enter areas up...
You can find itemized versions of these. Desyncly? So you'll do something which drops them, and then once you've dropped them, you can like use the item to get that league benefit, and you can have up to 3.
3 past leagues are active. You can find super-powered versions of these with various mods that make it even more interesting.
Super-powered versions of these. So maybe it's like you get it as an orb, and it lasts for a certain time period, maybe?
Interesting. And the second thing that this does is it also lets you get access to the really powerful ancient legacy items that were available on those...
Ancient legacy items. Ancient. No. No. Please just let that have been a word that he just chose, as in, like, old, not as in, like... I mean, he doesn't mean, like, D3 ancients, primal ancient legacy items, we D3 boys. Let's just... Maybe he just misspoke.
Thing that this does is it also lets you get access to the really powerful ancient...
Nope, he says ancient.
legacy items that were available on those previous leagues. So it gives you a chance to get a hold of items that haven't really been very easy to get a hold of in Path of Exile for some time.
Great. Well, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us about Path of Exile Fall of Oriath. Is there anything you would like to finish on?
Well, thank you very much for interviewing me, and thanks very much to everyone listening. Hope you get a chance to try out Path of Exile. You'll really enjoy it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really hope that's a troll. I really hope that's him taking a dig at D3. And not, like, actual ancient items. Okay. Oh, God. You need Project to hear that? Lol. What's this? So that's just the trailer? Okay, so that's just the trailer. We've seen that, so that's fine. I'm going to watch that again. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, Terminator. Clear speed meta, boys. Dude, what the fuck? Just killed them. Oh god, it's like watching a Tarke build. Use your flasks. I'm getting triggered. You have flasks, use them. Oh! Oh! What the fuck is he doing? Okay, can we just take a moment to appreciate that fucking sick juke? He just juked the shit out of that. No. Oh. 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 Mm. Oh, leap slam movement skills. What are you doing? Oh, he's so indecisive, this guy. You thought that was a good juke? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Dude, he's fucking using cover-based gameplay. He's like, shit, it's an archer. Let's quick run behind the box. Wait. Line of sight the archer. Peep round. Duck background behind cover. Oh my god. I mean, to be fair, if they'd given us, like, Flicker Strike, we wouldn't have seen anything, so... Oh, God. Use your fucking Onslaught Flask. Is this Xbox gameplay? No cursor? Yeah, this probably is Xbox gameplay. The way he's moving as well. Like the way he does the turns and stuff. Okay. It's hard to use flasks on a controller. Oh, but he's got 5 flasks. Didn't... Someone said to me they put the controller back to 5 flasks. Or they put the console back to 5. Oh, we're going to get some jukes now. He's playing a bow build. Sick blinks, maybe? He used his basalt flask, so reps for this boy. There was item highlights, so you doubt it's Xbox. It looks like you just hit the cursor for recording. Because you could see earlier it looked like it hovered over one of the chests, so that would have been his cursor. He just has it hidden for recording. Oh, that fucking blink! It's like, I love this double Quicksilver meta that we're watching right now. We're going double Quicksilver. He hasn't pressed either one of them once. I really like that new Flicker Strike animation. I hope we can get that on players. And the cape billowing behind looks so cool. Get this guy in PoE Pro League. This must be what you guys like when you watch me play. Like when you watch me like level. I'm just like AFK backtracking through Act 2. The Nazi imagery really is real with that color palette. I kind of wish they hadn't been so obvious with it. Can we have some basic capes? Well, it looks like some of the new armor bases have the capes built into them. They looked very basic. In a good way. You use your flask, that is true. I bet this prick is playing a fucking Pathfinder as well. This is a little aggressive, the Eagles too. Yeah, this is like straight up. Like, there was already quite a lot of Nazi imagery in the game, but this is like very, very heavy-handed now. I prefer it when the influences are a bit more subtle. It looks, like, don't get me wrong, it looks beautiful. And like the art rendered is fucking PogChamp. I just kind of wish they'd been slightly more subtle with it. But it looks good. It looks good. This is really making me reevaluate my life decisions. I have never seen like a trailer like of this burn hype so quickly. It's just I'm getting really frustrated with this dude's clear speed. Oh. Hey RDK, how you doing, man? This is potentially interesting for summoners. We're having new base mobs with the bubble. Is that it? Do we have any more PogChamp gameplay? The opening set of Oriath has a unique backdrop for Act 5. You'll battle extravagant ballrooms, golden finishes. You'll fight against those you face for. 24 boss fights in the expansion. Many are multi-stage encounters. Okay. So 24 new boss fights, mostly multi-encounters. Arena-like battles, more advanced mechanics from here on out. Okay, we've already seen this dude fucking battle it up. Let's see him on a sun. Although this might be someone different. Nope, there's no fucking flask users, just as the same dude. They could have chose a less impressive skill to watch. Use your flasks. Going to bed, 9 hours. Alright, catch you later, Zach. Go on, just hold down right click. I want. The boss design seems a little better. He's not taking damage. Why use Flask? I mean, he could be using Quicksilvers to kite and shit. Also, if you use some of his Flask, you'll be able to face tank some hits and get out some deeps. Like, generally speaking, when it comes to boss fights, you want the Mathel approach if you just mash all the Flasks and just fucking Hadouken into the boss. Nem, doesn't that, Pem even, doesn't that look just like the Trial of Valor fight with Odin? Those orbs going up? It looks cool though, I do like it. It does look cool. Video above, you can watch a sneak preview of an intricate boss fight. I wouldn't call it intricate. During the encounter, Temple of Varus will animate statues that can't be killed. Okay, so that's cool. However, the statues more than just distract you. You need to position yourself around them strategically to avoid incoming projectiles. Oh, I like that. So you use his ads to line of sight the orbs. Once you dream, you'll receive an important piece of information that changes the direction of the story a lot. Blah blah blah. New game structure. Act 3. Blah 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 blah. New acts. We already know about this stuff. Unique boss encounter. Well, that's loud. How is it? We don't know how Ascendancy will work. We don't know how they'll do the multiple labs. They haven't said yet. I wonder what happened to Nessa, man. Where's Nessa? Where's Bay? Maybe she went to Act 5, I don't know. There's not any Nessa in these Dead Corpse arenas, are there? First they take away our Globe Girls, and they give us new Globe Girls, and they take away Nessa. Nessa final boss of Act 10, confirmed. She's actually Kalandra all along. I guess you'll do 2 labs in Act 3 and 1, or 8 or something. They might just space it out, I don't know. The new Pantheon systems. This is the thing where you get the new defense that you get to choose. And you kill a boss, you unlock its power. Then you can kill more bosses to like get more powers. Just going to the gods. You have 1 major god, 1 minor god active at all times. There are 4 major, 12 minor. Just get to town switch, it's for free. So again, I'll talk about the stun and freeze thing. 3-3-2 from points now, probably. I think it will be 3-3-2. I think that's correct, Hash. So the first time you do lab, you get 3 points. This would also make sense with Scion, because it always felt weird with Scion that you do your first Ascendancy on a Scion, and you don't get anything. So you would get 3 points for doing it in Act 3, and then you get another 3 points for the next Act 3, and then Uber Lab would be where you get your final 2. That would finally make the Scion Ascendancy make sense. Legacy Challenge League. You'll collect League Stones, that's what was being mentioned earlier, so there'll be a chance that a stone will drop, and then Chris said we could get the Super League Stones. Each stone will have a specific league tie to it using a special screen within the game. You can set up to 3 stones active. It means all the leagues you've seen as active. Yes, yes. They'll have uniques that side to them. For instance, you could receive a Breach Challenge League stone that will allow you to find extra breaches. They can be traded and their value will be heavily timed by which league they tune. I'd like them to have some sort of timer on them, not that they're like infinitely powerful. So if they lasted for like 48 hours or something, Because otherwise it would just be a case of once you bought the best ones, you would never upgrade them. So I like to think that they would expire after a period of time. But you'd have a prophecy style window with 3 like holes in it. If they make sense to more aggressive buffs given defensive buffs, then the new system they could cut it back to 6 percentage points total. Zyna is side bay now. Well, you'll still have Zyna on top of this, right? So you'll have 3 legacy things and then Zyna on top. So you can now have like triple beyond, but you can have like triple beyond with super beyond on top. In theory, with the group 6, you can have all leagues. We don't know how it would work with group play. It might just use the leader of the group, or it might be, as you say, everyone in the zone's active at once. I'm going to be doing a lot of duo next league. Preferably with 3 people if Simon gets his computer stuff sorted out. So we could potentially have 9 mods active at once. That'd be pretty cool. If we all just stacked beyond. That'd be cool. Let's mention Legacy League launches. Okay, we don't. There's nothing that interesting in here, is there? You can't open multiple at once, but you can queue them up. There's nothing new in there. Some more interviews. Hopefully they don't spend the first 20 minutes. It's all written. Okay, gotta do reading, boys. Please no. So what made you design Path of Exile? What's your favourite kind of toast? Right, so let's start with the add-on The Fall of Oriath, which we're calling the 5th Act. The last time we spoke is about the Atlas of Worlds expansion, which has an endgame, blah, blah, blah. Right, we're actually changing the structure of the game. Before, you'd play Acts 1 through 4, then play them again a 3rd time, and then you play Atlas of Worlds. Now what we're doing is you play Acts 1 through 4, but then you'll go to Act 5 through 10, then endgame. It's Yoji's hosting. Oh, thanks for the host, Yoji. All the Yoji guys, jump on over into my chat so that you can have the thing. We've spent the last, hour just going over all the crazy Act 10 stuff. We're now still going through all the crazy Act 10 stuff. Act 10 and Legacy League, where you get the 3 stones. That's PogChamp. Oh, also, Yoji guys, the podcast me and Yoji recorded in Prophecy League that never got uploaded, got uploaded to my YouTube tonight. So if you're a Yoji fan, because you're watching Yoji, scroll beneath my stream, click on my YouTube link, and then go watch that podcast when we're done with all of this stuff. So, cheers again. So you're already working on Act 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, no, we already had that out. What's the story? In Act 4, you'll kill an entity called the Beast. Okay. Give us the new stuff. This is from when we've gone through 20 different ones of these, so it's difficult to find the other ones. When you kill one of the gods, you get special powers. You take the Brian God, you feed him his ability. They keep telling us the Brian God. It's because I like that it's not just straight stun immunity and freeze immunity, because that'd be too powerful for CI. So you'll get the guys now who they'll rock 50% stun avoidance, and then they'll have that enchant and be like, yeah, I'm probably alright. If I get stunned, I'm only going to get stunned once. Thanks to the follow, man. That helps a lot. I really appreciate it. I wonder if they had a similar one for shock recently. You couldn't be shocked in rapid succession. That'd be so good. There's the natural synergy, but there's no explicit effect on each other. Does the god power change what happens in other god fights? Like if you have a water god's power equipped and you go against fire god, does that make him madder? No, we didn't do anything like that. Makes sense. Would the events of Oriath have any impact on what happens in the gameplay? You'll still have your god powers, but you'll be able to upgrade them in the end game. The story is mostly unchanged. We haven't heard anything about lab yet, but I'm fairly sure the lab will be 3 points, then 3 points, then 2 points. Pretty sure. Announcement post is number 1 on /all. That's fucking awesome. Moving on to the X1 version of the game. For someone who hasn't played it on PC, what fancy RPG on Xbox do you think? Who cares? Did you guys notice the ancient item hype? I fucking found that hilarious. Awesome. Have all 10 acts? Yes. So that's the same as PC. This is the same files we used. Factor codes in this, but a lot of the automation with PC version kills got to do with the Xbox. Can't stop giggling about how awesome this is. Yeah, no, I straight up walked out of the room when I was watching the trailer. I was like, oh god. We noticed it all. Because the controllers didn't work, others had to change laws so they'd work with the controller. Why do we need cross-cop? No. We do that, we did Operation the Razor once long ago. Okay, so nothing too fancy there. Interview. We've seen that.
Hey guys, I'm Justin. We're playing Path of Exile's The File of Oriath, and I'm joined by a member of the development team.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers. I'm the technical director of Grinding
Okay, so yeah, they went back to 5 Flasks on Xbox. People wondering about that.
Games, and yeah, I'm keen to answer any questions about Fall of Oriath.
Yeah, so what is the setup for the Fall?
So basically, your character has been exiled. This is at the start of the game, and we're finally getting opportunity to come back to Oriath. And
sorry, but PC version's confirmed better because we have our Globe Girls back, but they don't have Globe Girls on Xbox. Feels bad, man.
Find out what's happened since you've been gone. So your character, when you arrive, they find that there's a middle of a slave uprising. The corrupt leaders of Oriath who exiled you, are finally having to face up to some of the stuff they've been doing. So yeah, you're going to take the side of the slaves and fight against a bunch of the guards who are of the Templar Order who are around in Oriath.
So is this purely a new place to play? Does this introduce any new abilities?
Remember to smash the like button, boys.
Absolutely. So there's tons of new stuff. I mean, this is a full-size expansion. So we are, there's lots of new items, lots of new areas. The biggest content is Act 5. So we're continuing the storyline where we left off at the end of Act 4, and adding a huge amount of new areas to play, and lots of bosses as well. We're getting very proud of the work we've been doing on bosses recently.
They got something like in the kitchen in the background.
Okay, so this is the slave pens. It's one of the areas that
That's not me, that's them. Why have they got someone in the kitchen in the background? Also, I really like the buzzsaw that bounced off the walls. Hopefully we can get more skills like that.
The slaves are kept, obviously. And, there's a lot of stuff going on here. There's slaves to free. There's, a lot of guards who are sort of, have rushed in here to try and quell the uprising. The other thing, another big part of this expansion is we're also removing cruel and merciless difficulty and replacing them with another 5-act storyline that kind of goes through some of the same areas that
Use
you've
your Quicksilver
before, but with lots of differences to the quests and bosses that are there as well.
What kind of differences?
Okay, so basically, so in the past, right, you'd play through the game Acts 1 to 4, then you'd play through the game 1 to 4 again, but with higher monster levels and so on, kind of like New Game Plus style thing. Then you play through the game one more time, so there's 3 playthroughs. What we've decided to do now is, rather than do that, we've kind of almost like made a sequel within the game, which is called Part 2. And the way it works is that you get back to the area that you went to before, but when you get there, all of the things that you did in the past have affected what happened afterwards. And so what you'll find is like, NPCs are gone, and you find out what happened to them. There are new bosses to fight against.
That's the default loot filter at work.
And a lot of the areas have just completely changed. So, for example, areas that you'd previously cleansed.
See, that had a border on it.
They're all verdant and green because, you fixed the problem there. But then instead it's been taken over by some other people. So you might say there's actually 6 new acts.
Thanks for the host, Eatup. Everyone from Eatup stream, if you want to see chat, come to here. We're covering all the crazy Path of Exile Act 10 stuff, and mostly raging about how journalists don't know how to press their fucking Quicksilvers.
In this expansion, where we had 4 before. So we've kind of increased the amount of the game length by 250%, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, so Path of Exile has been around for a long time now. It's not a spring chicken.
It isn't. So we released the game in 2013, and since then we've been upgrading it a huge amount. The thing that people maybe don't realize is that the game has actually been growing that entire time. In 2016, we had 44% more player hours than we had in 2015.
Are those goats? Sorry. We're not listening to this terrible interview. I just want to see this goat now.
We've been upgrading it a huge amount. The thing that people maybe don't realize is that the game has actually been growing that entire time. In 2016, we had 44% more player
Those are fucking goats.
hours than we had in 2015. So, we're continuing to grow, continuing to expand. And the game has come a long way, both in terms of technology and in terms of gameplay since that time. So you may notice this area here looks a lot nicer than the beginning, the game that you would have played in 2013. And we've been keeping up a lot with lots of engine improvements and so on. And we also had to do a huge amount of work to get the game to run well on an Xbox, right? So this is something that we're extremely proud of where the
Thanks
game's
for the
going.
follow, man.
We're playing the game on Xbox One right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of
Playing.
trade-offs do you have to make to get this working, or do
So
you feel like this is a one-for-one
The,
PC?
I'm not going to say it's one for one. There are definitely differences. The thing that's really interesting about it is what we've had to do for controls. We kind of have to go through every single skill and work out what makes.
Is this the Xbox version? Yeah, I'm playing it right now. I want to use my Quicksilver, but for some reason the D-pad is broken.
The most sense for targeting on an Xbox. So hopefully you're enjoying the way the controls feel and everything. Because we work quite hard on it. It's one of those things where it's like every skill you're like, okay, I need to sort of tune the heuristics about like when should it where should it attack exactly, because on PC you've got the ability to obviously pinpoint exactly where you want to do an attack. On console you basically have a direction. So that you have to work quite hard to do that. But we've been doing that well. There are some skills we'll probably remove for console because they're just not going to work. But other skills that actually feel better, things like.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to be a smart ass, I was just memeing. Thanks for the follow, man, I appreciate it a lot. So they said there will be some skills they're going to remove. So I'm curious to see if they're going to purposely not bring over all the shit spells, like Glacial Hammer and all that stuff. So they might purposely skip all the bad skills and only bring over the viable. So basically, the only skills you're going to have on the Xbox will have Blade in the title.
Cyclone just feels better when it's channeled and you get to move around than it does on PC, just due to the way that that control is. So we're very happy with how it's turned out.
When you have new expansions like this, do you find that it increases the player base? Do you have a lot of either new players, or do you have a lot of returning players who might have fallen off that come back for this?
It's both of those, and honestly, when we're designing.
Hi there. So I just want to ask you, when you release new content, do you have new people playing the game?
Every expansion, we have to consider, essentially three classes of players, right? We have the players who are new, we have the players who are returning, and then we've got the players who are currently playing. So we need to sort of think about like what is the content for each of those three groups, and then make sure there's something in the expansion for all of those different people. So yeah, that is a constant challenge. But we've been kind of trying to make sure that we're very, we're not afraid to try new things. We're not afraid to make changes, even though the player base can sometimes, be a bit angry about it, right? But the best time to nerf something is when, you've got a whole bunch of new content coming as well to sort of, they can still try it out. So,
They're removing skills that don't work well on consoles until GG stopped designing new skills that won't work well. This has already happened. If you think about the most recent skill reveals, when was the last time they released a skill which wouldn't perform well on Xbox? Remember, they've been planning Xbox for years now. So, all new skills have Xbox in mind.
we try to
This is the XP bar, by the way, for the guy asking what was above mana.
do the best where we can with that stuff.
So where are we at now?
Okay, so this is the Oriath Square. It's kind of the central location of the city. And from here, there's a bunch of areas going off to the sides, and also a bunch more guards and so on that you'll need to fight. So one of the things I know players will be excited about is they've been continuously saying we need snow areas. There's no snow in the game, so we're finally delivering on that with a couple of different areas in Act 5.
So how is the game? How do you feel the game has changed over the years in response to what fans
How many
want
acts?
and how
There are
fans
currently 4, there will be 10.
let you know what they want?
I would just say that in terms of player customization, we've increased. We've added so many systems. The other thing as well is the end game has improved substantially. The last expansion, especially, the end game just took had a massive improvement. The average playtime that players play per day now is up to 5 hours. So once you start playing the end game, people just stick around forever. It's quite amazing to see. So there's a lot of fun to be had there.
And so this is a paid expansion, right?
It is not. So the game is free to play, and every expansion is also free. We make money with cosmetic microtransactions. So there's absolutely nothing
I really like this new model.
pay to win in the game. And the entire game, including all expansions, all the content that's been made for many years, is coming to Xbox as well. And we're hoping to, as much as possible, to ship all the expansions at exactly the same time on both PC and Xbox.
I'm really surprised that the average playtime is 5 hours. That's very high, across the board as an average playtime. That's really good. And no, they're expanding the story. That was a finished story, but
So this is High Templar Avarius. He's the one who's taken over the Templar Order in Oriath. He has a lot of very telegraphed attacks, and the other thing about him is that the fight evolves quite a lot as you continue. So at the beginning, it is quite the fight is quite simple, but as you deal damage, it's going to get more and more complicated.
press RB, so you get prompts to use mana flasks. If his health drops, keep your eyes out, see if there's a prompt to use a health flask.
Oh, you need some mana, so RB. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so he can raise these statues. They're completely invulnerable.
I mean, I guess it's good that they're doing the prompts.
So it's a good idea to stay away from them. But after they turn back into statues again, they form cover, which you can use later in the fight to block projectiles. So they can become quite useful.
He's press X to not die.
Yeah, definitely use fire. Okay, so you're going to have to,
He's
now,
fucked
we've actually
now.
run out of health flasks now, so you've got to be very careful. At some point in the fight, there's going to be a minion phase, and as you kill the minions, you're going to refill your flasks. So that's going to let you regenerate. So try and get it down to 50% health as fast as you can, and then there's going to be a minion phase.
Oh, is he burning it? Is he doing it, boys? You can do it, bro. I love how the questions have stopped because he's just the intense gameplay at this point. He made it. To be honest, I think it's good they have those prompts built in for new players. I think it's a good system. Oh, I like how the flasks... Well, actually, I don't know. The flask pulse as you generate charges. That could potentially get really annoying if you can't turn that off. But it's cool. I like it.
Unfortunately, it can get pretty intense and down to 30 FPS during some of the stuff, but that'll be resolved by the time the game releases.
So the target is to try to get
Down
the game
to
running
30
at 60
FPS.
Oh yeah, 60 FPS, 1080. I suspect that by the time we're finished, we may need to do some dynamic resolution scaling, but we should be able to do pretty well. But yeah, as I said, it's hard to know exactly because we haven't fully optimized yet.
They've confirmed there will be new skills. They just haven't shown any of them yet. But they have confirmed all times there will be new skills.
Oh yeah, run away, run away.
Get behind a statue.
Yeah. Yeah, so when he uses that skill, you want to be far away.
Did you run into any issues with getting a free-to-play game working on console? Because I know, like, when you're dealing with something like Xbox Live or even PSN, that the free-to-play model can seem problematic, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah, so I mean, I obviously consoles free-to-play is newer than it is on PC. It's something that we have.
The fact they put that there makes me think there will be a chat window there. I guess they need it for dialogue. That's kind of cool. And to be honest, if the Xbox runs smoothly, I might personally be interested in it.
We have a lot of talks about with Microsoft and so on about like what can we sell, what can we not sell. Some of the things we do in our business model on PC, they're not necessarily willing for us to do. So that's something we have to work with them on. But overall, they're receptive. Like they want to see, they want to make free-to-play work as well as it does on PC as it does on console. And they've had some really excellent free-to-play successes with some of their other games, like World of Tanks and so on. So they're definitely interested in increasing the number of free-to-play titles on their store. And we're hoping that we're going to be one of the bigger ones.
Careful, bro. Can you do it?
Perfect.
Just stay still. Oh, he did it.
What kind of elements are you not able to do on the monetization side?
So I mean, like one example is a lot of our packs that we do sell on PC. We include physical merchandise in with it as well, like T-shirts and stuff like that. And we've found that by we have an almost Kickstarter-like reward tier system on PC. So for example, we'll sell a pack that contains like some points, but also some, like a T-shirt and stuff like that. And then you go up to the next pack up that's a bit more expensive, and then it contains everything from the pack below plus like signed concept art and that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, Microsoft aren't really willing to do that kind of stuff.
Oh,
like
that
selling
sucks.
Physical goods on a virtual marketplace. So there's just there's details like that we have to work around. So
Oh, that really does
we're gonna
suck
have to
for the
change
Xbox
a
players.
few of those things, but
I guess they'd get
it's
cheaper
not a huge
supporter
deal.
packs as a result.
Oh, run away, run away, run away. Whoa, okay. Okay, so you've just killed his first form, and
I love that. That is beautiful. He's like, okay, so you've just killed his first one. Punch.
Now it gets hard.
I was going to go and talk to him and say, hey.
So, yeah. So one of the things that's particularly nasty about this form is that as he charges around, he's going to unleash a bunch more of that sort of bullet hell style spam. But I think you have to get him down a little bit first before he starts really amping it up. Yeah, okay, there we go.
This does look like a pretty cool fight, to be honest. And also, so this is the Act 5 endgame boss. I'm guessing the Act 10 endgame boss will be Sin. Because we'll fight both Innocence and Sin.
This expansion, there are 24 major bosses, like this one. This is a particularly important one, as it's the mid-act boss fight of Act 5. Yeah, as I talked about before, there's the whole Part 2 of this expansion, which I can also show you. And there's a lot of boss fights to be had in there as well. So let's talk about Part 2. But just to sort of make you understand what Part 2 is like, I'm going to show you a few areas in Part 1, and then show you how they've changed in Part 2. And that will mean that we can sort of compare. So an example of that...
it's hard to tell how hard it is because I don't know how much life he has.
This is like sort of as simple as the changes are, but just to give you a basic idea, we're going to go to the very first area of Path of Exile, which is the Twilight Strand. This is where you wake up on the beach after you've been, at the very beginning of the game. So this is the first area of the game normally. Don't worry about talking to NPCs or anything. I'm just sort of showing it to you. This is what it looks like. There's some monsters which apparently aren't wanting to actually show up.
This dude got saved, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So there's monsters and so on. You're way over leveled.
That was basically a, you can't kill this boss. We'll quickly put you in this zone.
The Part 2 version of this area, things have changed somewhat. So basically, all of the noble people from... Oh, sorry, go down, yeah. You spawned in a different place. All the noble people from Oriath have fled the city. They've washed up on...
I've really loved the animations on these zombies.
So now
they look so cool.
The zombies here are all basically the corpses of the noblemen who fled from Oriath.
Sort of homage to the start of the game.
Right. And then the boss is different at the end of the area and that kind of stuff. To show you another example, this is an area that has a monster called Cadaverous who's kind of corrupting the area, and so it's all kind of like smoky and corrupted.
Putrid, everything's
Yeah.
dead, decaying.
So
Use
in
a
Part
flask.
1, you kill that guy. So then when you come back in Part 2, now
You hope the noble dead is a skin for zombies?
Like
That'd be really cool.
So obviously it's all verdant and green. Everything's returned. And what you'll find is, like, if you go to town, a lot of the NPCs have either moved on or gone. There are new NPCs there who've got new quests and so on.
Well, they remember your actions.
Rip Nesta.
Yes, they remember your actions from the past. I mean, yeah, you're about a level for this. So yeah. Oh, sorry. When you
Even further ahead.
yeah, and you went to
Whatever.
yeah, and you went to town accidentally when you and the town on this character is unfortunately the first area that you went to. So yeah, we'll deal with this. So basically, there's a lot of differences, and what we kind of wanted was like, okay, like in the past you just play through exactly the same game. Now what you're playing through is like something that's like feels fresh and new. So it is like recycling. It's probably about 50% recycled stuff from the past and 50% sort of new things. And there's lots of new monsters and new.
Move. I want to see this
new
zone.
bosses.
Go up. Ah!
Here's an example. Here's an example of another boss fight of the expansion. Once again, you're under leveled, so you're going to get owned. But this is a totem boss. He's the god Tukuhama. All the skills are related to totems, and basically they can.
I love that slow moving, spinning beam. It's such a subtle thing, but I like the way that it changes the fight. It's such a simple touch. It's so simple. I don't know why he's... Oh my god, he died to that. Bro.
So that's an example of Tukohama. So here's another example of part 2. So in part 1, you explore this area called the prison. In part 2, you do enter the prison, but rather than going out the other side of it like you do in part 1, you instead climb up a tower and eventually end up on the roof. So this is where you come from, so you want to go up there. Then you fight. So you're on the roof of the prison now, and then you have a fight with Brutus, who was a boss you fought before, and Chevron has reassembled him and is powering him up.
How did
he
she
has the
come back
skills that he
there?
had before, but only there's sort of powered up versions of them that you have to fight. And once again, you'll get completely wrecked by this boss since you're too low level.
It does look fucking cool.
But just to move the fight forward, so then they swap places, and then
Oh, I like that. So they take
comes out and
turns
she's even
smacking each other in the
slightly harder
face.
than Brutus, and has got a bunch more fix. So we run around when she's doing that because she's floating up in the air and then firing down. Yeah.
Ghost escape
anyway,
does kill the
those are
beast.
sort of
yeah.
examples of sort of the stuff you find in part 2. So basically, it's like, it is similar to what was before, but it's also new as well.
So that's an overview of this upcoming expansion for Path of Exile. When is this due out?
So we're looking at sometime in the middle of the year. We're sort of thinking June. We don't have an exact date yet, but there will be a beta, and that'll be earlier. That
Looks
should be
so
either
fucking
late
cool, man.
April, early May. And if you want to get into that, then sign up on pathofexile.com.
And Path of Exile is free, and this expansion is, of course, going to be free as well.
Yeah.
I mean, no one was expecting 10 acts. That really is crazy. Okay, so now... Is that all the interviews you've watched now?
Hey guys, I'm Justin. We're playing.
Okay, so we've watched all the interviews. Okay, so thank you for the follows, by the way. Who's hosting? We got a host from Yoji and we got a host from Eat Up. By the way, Yoji fans, a podcast that me and Yoji recorded years ago got thrown up on YouTube recently. So if you're interested in either Yoji or myself, I recommend go watching that. If you just scroll down,